I didn't like it here when I first came here because I was used to being in a family, and it bothered me to be here. But then everybody here is so nice, and they really look after me and help me, so I don't feel that way anymore.
Ron came in before me. He was kind of sad that I wasn't with him. And he says, when are you coming in? And I said, well, I don't know. He says, this isn't the way we are leaving our 7 years of marriage.
Nobody sits around the table thinking about the day they're going to move into long-term care. So it's a wide variety of emotions that we see.
I still remember the day she was admitted. It was just the environment. People care. They really care. Hugs, talking to people, touching. So important. It was so important. And it wasn't just the care that Mom got. It was me as well. Because you have to be comfortable with where you put your family member. And I was just at peace.
What people really, I find, need is hope. And they've led very independent lives. They've had their own home. They've had their own car. And all of a sudden they find themselves here with one room.
A lot of time is spent getting to know what the resident used to do in their old life before they came here. So really focusing on what is their daily routine for getting up, what time did they eat, that sort of thing. What time do you like to go to bed? Because we try to make the transition as smooth as possible.
We kind of have those little stepping stones in place before we actually meet them, and so we can tap into their interests. Because like, oh, you like to do this too, maybe we have a similar interest as well, so that's very comforting for them.
We really are actually shifting our philosophy of care to what's called relationship-centered care. So that is really focusing on relationships between staff, between family members, staff to staff, staff to resident. It's about bringing meaning to wherever they're at in their journey.
If somebody's lived here for a couple years, this is their home. Their room is like their own little apartment. They know the staff, they're so familiar. They have relationships formed with the other residents. All the sounds are familiar. So it's very much their home.
Our role in recreation is to further enrich their stay here by incorporating all the things that they used to do before they came here. We integrate quite a bit with spiritual care, which is our pastoral care coordinator, Jason, and Joanne, a social worker.
So the McCormick Care Foundation has been a huge support for the home in the fact that it supports our social worker and our chaplain, which has been a recent addition to our home.
A chaplain looks after all these spiritual needs of the residents, and I kind of try and assist them on that journey of who they really are, right? And what matters to their heart, what matters to their soul.
When the foundation decided to bring chaplaincy on, I was excited about that because there are times where I feel like I can't fulfill that need, and so he's here. And then there are times where he comes to me and we collaborate to fill another need.
Because you're dealing with people transitioning in at a very emotional time, on one hand, you're welcoming them to the home, and on the other hand, you're starting to talk about, so if something should happen, what do you want to do? So it's a very fine line of how you bring those conversations up.
I think people are very aware that this is their last address, that this will be their last home.
And coming into long-term care, it's an opportunity, though, for people to talk about their death, or what they imagine their death is going to be like, or what they may fear about their death. And we will bring that topic up sort of as we sense that it's appropriate, because it's not a taboo topic at all.
When somebody is deemed palliative, it will show up on our computer that we log into every morning when we come in at work, and it will say, Betty Smith is palliative. So I will visit with Betty, and if Betty's conscious, I'll have a chat with her. And if she's unconscious, I'll still have a chat with her. I'll sit there and I'll pray with her, and I'll speak to her at that point.
There's lots of things that happen almost at the same time, simultaneously, when they start receiving palliative care. There's a little butterfly that goes on the outside of their door.
They put the butterfly up there, and I've seen the butterfly. Well, I said, I got to go and see so-and-so before she finally goes. Because I have conversations with all these people. And you don't do something just cut and dried. No, you can't do that.
For the palliative care, we have a few things that we try to ensure that the families, receive while they're spending time with their loved one. And for the palliative resident, aromatherapy, little sachets that are provided on the resident's pillow for the smells of relaxation. And also we have, of course, the music component, if there's any end-of-life care music that we can provide for audio stimulation.
When somebody's deemed palliative, I make a special effort to be present in the room, probably even more often than when they're up and alive and thriving and well. If there's family members at the bedside, sometimes 24 hours, I always try to put myself in their shoes and in their situation. And I just keep the communication open with them, try to answer any questions they have.
Many times the families don't want to leave because they want to be here when mom or dad pass. So we provide them with beverages and meals, whatever we can do to make them feel that it's okay to stay. We have those chairs that allow them to be either in the room with their loved one, or we can provide them a quiet space for some time apart so they can get some rest. So we really wrap ourselves around them as well and make sure that their needs are being met. The social worker will go up and the chaplain to touch base with the families to see if they can support.
You never quite know what you're walking into when you encounter a family. They're getting prepared for a void in their lives, and they want to know that their loved one is being cared for. They're not going to be in any pain.
My mom had been down this journey quite a few times, actually. It wasn't the first time my mom had been palliative. The last time, though, she actually, when I got here, we got here in the middle of the night because we were away. It was hard to say how she really was because she was sleeping. But as soon as I saw her in the morning, I knew there was something different. That this time, it was going to be time. This was her journey now.
Just like everybody is an individual in their lives, everybody is an individual in the way they approach end of life and leave us.
Death is that person's final moment here in life, right? This is the last time we're going to see that individual.
I don't know. People are different how they handle it, different ways, And I think it's going to happen. It's going to happen. Not much I can do about it.
I knew how I wanted Mom's journey to be, her final journey. I wanted her to go with dignity, no pain. That was the most important thing, is no pain.
Oh, I was with him. I asked him if does he feel like going for a walk? Could he get up? No, he said, I'm too tired. Okay. So I was rubbing his hand. He says, there's nothing here for me. nothing. He says, I'm ready to go. He says, I am so tired. He says, I just want to sleep forever. I said, okay, close your eyes. Close your eyes.
Staff from all different departments and disciplines will be going up and, you know, sharing their memories and sort of just really making it a beautiful moment, even though they're struggling with the fact that their loved one is passing away. But it becomes a moment where everybody takes a minute to go up and say their goodbyes and share how their loved one has touched them.
I couldn't have asked for better support of the staff. These were people that we've grown to admire, and seeing the emotion that they went through, knowing that my mom's journey was ending.
I mean, I think we're family. I think that's something that's pretty special about this home. So when someone dies here, we do show emotion, and I think that's okay. My little conversation with myself is, if the family is supporting you more than you are supporting them, then maybe you need to step out. But I have cried with people and I have hugged them, as many staff have done here. And I think that just shows people that we're human and that we've attached ourselves to their loved one and that we're sad to see them go.
The long-term care relationship, I find, is so much different than acute care in a hospital. And that's what I love about long-term care. I have like 62 grandparents who I really just developed such a bond with.
We're told not to get personally involved, but it looks great in a textbook, but the reality is quite different. You can't help but get personally involved with the residents when you work with them day in and day out and see them all the time.
His movements were getting slower and slower and slower, and finally I said, oh, he's gone. And he was gone. He was gone. I saw it. I heard his last breath. Something I'll never forget.
The final day, I said to her, I love you, Mom. And my mom went. She blinked and she puckered her lips. We held her and told her it was okay, that we were fine, that Dad was waiting for her, and she needed to go. And she took one more breath, and the breaths were so peaceful. It wasn't a struggle like it had been. It was just like, and she was gone.
The day has come to let you go, as your journey comes to a close. I'll always miss you forever, you know. Nothing takes away my love when you go. The end is here now. You're so brave. Grew some wings now. You're flying away. I'll always miss you forever, you know. Nothing takes away my love when you go. Yeah, nothing takes away my love when I let you go. 'Cause you are with me, always will be. I hope you know my love stays when you go.
I have watched people take their last breath, and I've sat with people, like many of us have, been in the room, and I don't even know how to describe it. It's something that's very special, and to be able to say goodbye to somebody that you've worked with is very special.
Once somebody passes, we always open the window and say, and that's like our final closure to know that the spirit has left the room.
We go up and I would meet with the family and assess their needs and maybe have a quick prayer and explain to them the process that's going to happen next. We would then contact the funeral home, and the funeral home will give us a time that they will be coming to collect the resident.
Once a resident passes away, we lay a beautiful quilt that was made over top of the gurney as the body is leaving the home, and it's paged over the announcement that resident name from whatever home area has passed and honor guard is forming at the front door.
So all PSWs and nurses and management staff who are able to attend will meet on the main lobby. The honor guard is for the staff and it's for the family. Right? The loved one is already gone. I always say they've gone to glory, depending on their belief. But it's our way of closure as well. When that resident leaves, it's for the final time. We all know it. And this is a form of closure and respect to that resident and their family. To let them know we honored this person. We loved this person.
We will stand as a group and be silent and not move right away. And that is like huge, where we're all just sort of gathering ourselves and preparing to move back into the day. But it's not like the doors close, somebody leaves, and we're just right back at it. Like, we actually will stand and we'll be in silence for a few minutes. And that is very impactful and very special to be part of.
Years ago, residents, when they died, would go out the back door. We've made such progress in long-term care that it's, you know what, they deserve that dignity and respect to leave the way they came in.
When somebody dies, even in an expected death, it's still a shock. There's still that formality, that finality. It's so that we think we're all ready for until it happens. And I do also try to remind the families that I'm working with that it will feel different even when it happens, regardless how prepared we think we are.
On the third floor, I placed some literature and materials to assist families. Just when that loved one passes, right? What to expect, coping with depression, right? Coping with loss, right? What is that journey going to be like over the next year or two when dad isn't there, right? When mom isn't there? How do I move forward, right? How do I fill that empty void?
There have been times where I've seen people a couple of times, a couple of sessions afterwards. There have been times where I've thrown out a phone call even because I've just been thinking about them and just hoping that they were doing well. And really sometimes it's just a voicemail that I will leave for somebody. So it's possible to be able to be in touch with us after your loved one has died. And I think any one of us would really take that call. Because we want you to be able to transition well into what your new life looks like without your loved one.
So I'm very proud of the team at McCormick Home and how we really, truly provide great palliative care. I think we build those relationships with those that we care for, that being both the resident and the family. And so when you know the people, whether it's the resident that you've been caring for or the family members, you can provide that bedside touch, that sense of joy or peace or happiness. So I'm very, very honored and blessed to be part of a team that really has embraced palliative care and how we can continue to push the envelope to do better. We have a volunteer who works with the monarch butterflies, and she's been releasing them at the home for the last couple of years. And this year we really focused on releasing them to honor some of our residents that have passed away. So we actually had a husband and wife who were living here, and the wife passed away recently, and that husband got to release a butterfly.
I'll let you go. 'Cause 'cause you are with me, always will be. I hope you know my love stays when you go.